Yesterday was the day that everyone was waiting for. Kamala Harris and Trump finally debated. It was even more revealing to point out that mainstream media is now even more biased than before. I didn't know that that was even possible. Also, today marks the 23-year mark that we had the biggest attack on our homeland happen in New York City or that short amount ago, and people are forgetting what actually happened and people are starting to doubt that it actually happened. Let's dig into that and a lot more on today's episode.
Facts over tracks, isn't that spitting slow, spitting fast, I could roast, I could gas, think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past.
Like I said, we're going to be talking about mostly the debate because obviously that just happened yesterday. I wanted to go through the whole entire debate, which we would probably do over the weekend or so, maybe even before that, but there is a second debate scheduled in October, which is a really good thing because I think more debates the better. I want to hear what both people have to say as many times as we could possibly do this because Trump is a very, very smart guy and Kamala is just protected by the moderators. So it's more like Trump versus Kamala featuring the moderators, which is exactly true. It's the fact of the case here. So summing up with this, the debate was so biased that it was divorced from reality, and Trump should refuse to do another debate. Now, this is according to the Federalist. This is one take. Let's see. Tuesday night's debate between former President Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris, the fact checkers were flying, but only in one direction. As expected, ABC News moderators David Muir and Lindsay Davis were criminally biased, making the debate effectively a 3-against-1, in practically amounting to an unkind donation to the Harris campaign. The lying gaslighting was so brazen from Harris and the fact-checking from Muir and Davis so lopsided, they failed even once to push back or correct any of Harris's obvious falsehoods. The entire spectacle eventually took on an air of unreality. It was bizarre to see happening live on air. By the end, my main takeaway was that the purpose of these debates, besides the media's obvious goal of boosting Kamala Harris and hurting Trump, is to confuse and demoralize the American people by disorienting reality and flooding the internet with lies, making it impossible to know what's true and what's not. And that's exactly what the mainstream wants to do here, is because of the fact that they know that when you're trying to look for something that is a summary, let's just say like a 5 to 10 minute summary of exactly what happened the day prior, you can't really find it in an unbiased way. You go on CNN, MSNBC, ABC News. These are highly biased people. Those are not non-political organizations. So you try to go somewhere that you trust. You want to go somewhere that you actually know that they're going to not put a spin on it and just give you the facts, even though sometimes the center of things might be a little bit more to the right. And that's the reality of the situation, because if you have like a full-on leftist, like a Wall Street Journal or Times, ABC News, CNN, MSNBC, the articles that they come out and pump out are not nonpartisan. It's just crazy because you can't even get the facts anymore, and that sums it up really correct here. At one point, Harris recited a litany of the most obvious, rightfully debunked lies about Trump, from the fine people on both sides comment on Charlottesville to the bloodbath remark about the auto industry, to claiming he, quote, incited the United States Capitol riot on January 6th. Anyone can go online and check for themselves that these things are all hoaxes. They never happened. But the moderators said nothing. Of course, this is exactly what's bound to happen. They again said nothing when Harris lied about her views on fracking, gun control, and defunding the police. Nor did they say anything when horrendously claimed that there is no American troops that died in combat zones. 3 United States soldiers were killed in a drone attack in Jordan earlier this year, and 7 more were injured in a raid against ISIS in Iraq last month. That police officers died on January 6th. The third trimester abortions never happened, or the Trump tax cuts disproportionately benefited the wealthy. On and on and on. Lie after lie after lie. And I completely agree on that because of the fact that the Trump tax cuts did not just benefit the uber wealthy, which they barely even benefit the uber wealthy because they pay taxes no matter what happens. But if you were to break it down here, small businesses benefited. The average Americans benefited. If a small business that you work for saves money on taxes, then you might get a raise. Let's just say if the business that you work for saves $20,000 in taxes every single year, you might get a $10,000 raise. or a $5,000 raise. They'll have some more dispensable dispensary money that they can just give out to their workers if they appreciate you. So this is exactly why I say no. Cut all these taxes. And these businesses already pay sales tax. So sales tax should be the only tax that businesses pay. Why do businesses have to pay, again, a business tax? It doesn't make any sense on all profit. Right now it's at 15, or right now Trump implemented a 15%. Right now it's at 21%. So why is it that businesses have to pay a 7.5% sales tax, depending on the state, of course, at least in the state that I come from, 7.5% sales tax, and then they have to pay another 21% on top of that, all the profit that they take from that. So it just does not make any sense. With Trump, it was a course much different. Murr and Davis routinely inserted themselves into the debate under the guise of fact-checking the former president, even on trivial matters, to the point that at times it developed into a side debate between Trump and the moderators. Of course, it's exactly what I'm saying. But again, media bias is backed in and wasn't a surprise. As Megyn Kelly noted, the person who runs ABC News, Deanna Walden, is a close personal friend of Kamala Harris, and the moderators did exactly what their bosses wanted them to do. We've all known for a long time that Trump isn't running against Kamala Harris and the DNC. He's running against a machine that includes the entire corporate press, the administrative state, and the intelligence agencies, big tech, and even Taylor Swift. I completely agree. Every single mega Uber corporation supports Trump. Every single mega corporation that wants to support Trump is just dragged through the mud after they support Trump relentlessly. You can see with the MyPillow guy, Mike Lindell, he wanted to support Trump. Look at what happened with his businesses. He was forced out of all the retailers and stuff like that. He couldn't even have a business anymore because of the fact, or they tried to shut down his business because of the fact that they stood up for Trump. Now, it's just a highly disgusting thing here. What was unusual about this debate, though, was the brazen the bias was. How unconcerned ABC seemed to be even when presenting the appearance of the journalistic integrity or fairness. It was shocking to see it. In this effect of it isn't necessarily to move the needle on the election in one way or the other. It's unlikely that anyone, whatever their views, will be persuaded by anything that was said or done during this farce of a debate. No, the real fact is that to erode our ability to function as a coherent policy, to maintain a democratic form of government or anything else close to self-government, you cannot do it like this, especially not in our digital era. The lies and distortions and undiagnosed bias get fed directly into social media, which instantly becomes a feeding frenzy of claim and counterclaim, replete with clips and commentaries that serve only to the compound of distorting effect of the debate itself. And I completely agree with that, because now the mainstream media companies are going to take exactly what the moderators say at face value and then not allow anyone to say anything that is remotely outside of that. So let's just say if I play a clip, and this is exactly what happened to me before, I play a clip on TikTok, and it is perfectly in context, but I'm mad about the clip because I'm like, what the heck's going on? They banned that video. They take it down and they give me a warning. They give me a strike on my account. And then they said, if this happens again, we're going to ban your account. Like, listen up here. So I'm like, okay, well, am I not supposed to show clips of people talking? What am I supposed to do? Just act like, not even say one word, watch my reaction to this video in the next video. It just doesn't make any sense here. You can't engage in a meaningful debate this way. You need a bare minimum of shared reality for that. The conduct of ABC News and the rest of the corporate press is making it impossible, which is why we would be better off without these presidential debates. Of course, I agree. That's exactly why I like the idea of having these people go on Joe Rogan's podcast. Just go on Joe Rogan's podcast and just talk. No rules, no regulations, 2 hours, go. And then just say, okay, here's the starting topic, boom. And then don't even do any more topics after that. Just, there you go. That's the starting topic. You can go off the chain from there. You can go on a different topic, and then you just debate like how it's supposed to be. People's microphones aren't supposed to be muted on a debate. People are supposed to be there, present at the debate. And you're supposed to go and you're supposed to actually talk and not just have this 1 to 2 to 3 minute just cutout of exactly what you're going to say at the exact same moment. You're going to have a more realistic standard at which we have these debates. It's not a real debate, and you can't tell who a person really is from these debates because it's set up that way. So, moving on to the next article, we actually have a Daily Wire article. ABC News moderators are now blasted for extreme bias fact checking Trump, but not Harris, of course. ABC News' David Murr and Lindsay David faced intense backlash online during Tuesday night's presidential debate for their obvious bias against Republican nominee Donald Trump. The bias manifested itself in several ways. For asking Trump more hostile gotcha questions, then they asked Harris to pressing Trump when following up questions, while allowing Harris to evade questions with no follow up or fact checking Trump, while allowing Harris to lie with impurity. ABC News' left wing bias was on full display during the network's pre debate coverage, with media analyst Stephen L. Miller noting ABC News' pre debate coverage might as well be The View right now. It's insane. Its media files center, they've been blaring the sound of ABC's pre debate coverage, except with Tom Cotton was just spot on. Sound went up, way up, down, couldn't hear a word, added real clear politics, President Tom Bervian. Josh Shapiro comes on and the sound was turned back up. Unreal. Okay, yeah, of course, because it's highly, highly one-sided. It's just disgusting here. Once the debate started, the bias quickly went on full display, with former acting director of national intelligence Richard Gornwell calling David a far-left activist, which is completely true. Political commentator Noah Polak posted on X, ABC hosts embarrassing themselves protecting Harris from having to answer whether she supports partial birth, late-term abortions. Firebrand and Coulter noted, but it's great to have 3 Democrats debating Trump right today. Thanks, ABC. Donald Trump Jr. also hammered the fact checkers for only fact checking Trump but not Harris. Weird how the hack moderators at ABC News are only fact checking Trump and allowing Kamala to lie nonstop, he posted. The fake news is the enemy of the people. Independent journalist Christopher Rufo posted on X, there's overly partial, only misleading fact checks are absurd. It's only journalism, it's propaganda. It's not journalism, it's propaganda. I completely agree on that. Harris just lied about the SCOTUS ruling on immunity, noted conservative commentator AJ. 0 fact checks from the moderators after multiple fact checks against Trump. Really bad look from ABC News. Sirius XM host Megyn Kelly blasted Murr and Davis writing, these moderators are disgraceful failure, and this is one of the most biased, unfair debates I've ever seen. Shame on you, ABC News. I completely agree, because ABC News has nonstop been like this. I mean, ABC News through the years has been gotten worse and worse and worse and worse, and you can see on GMA, it's just the bias is shining through them. And if you're not of the left and you don't watch them every single day, you notice this a lot more. Like sometimes when I go go over my grandma's house in the morning and stuff like that, and they're watching Good Morning America because they like watching that in the morning, you can see the bias. And I can see it because I don't watch that every single day, but they have no idea what they're even like facing because they've been so used to this, that the bias that they're being fed from the mainstream media is just highly one-sided, and they have no other way of looking at they have no other way of looking at things because they look at the TV. Sometimes they look at Facebook. It's all the mainstream organizations here that they're looking at. It's not a good thing. With that being said, I should say, today is 9/11, and of course, Joe Biden had a statement that he did put out to the media yesterday, and that was about how he is doing 9/11, which does not make any sense whatsoever. I don't know what he really means by this. Watch TikTok try to ban me for playing this video, but it's not out of context. This is Joe Biden going up to the media and saying that he will do a 9/11.
The debate, and tomorrow I'm doing 9/11. I spoke to the vice president. She seems calm, cool, and collected. I think she's going to do great, and I'm not going to tell you what the vice president is.
What does that even mean? Tomorrow I'm doing 9/11. What? So are you celebrating 9/11? Like, you shouldn't be celebrating. What are you doing 9/11? What does that even mean? So yeah, of course, that's Joe Biden over here. We all know that he's not fit to even be in office anymore. I'm not sure why he still is in office anymore. I don't know. It beats me. Don't know why he's there. So at this point, it's just a lost cause. I don't know why Biden is still there. He has no idea what he's even doing. But I guess Biden, Harris, and Trump is going to visit the September 11 sites as the United States pays tribute to the victims. So this is according to Reuters. September 11, United States President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris on Wednesday will observe the 23rd anniversary of September 11 attacks on the United States with visits to each of the 3 sites where hijacked planes crashed in 2001 and killed nearly 3,000 people. Biden and Harris will first visit New York City site where planes brought down the World Trade Center's Twin Towers. Harris, now the Democratic nominee for president, was due to travel to New York after debating her Republican rival, former President Donald Trump, in Pennsylvania on Tuesday evening, with just 8 weeks left before the November 5th presidential election. No remarks are scheduled at the site, where relatives will read the names of those who died. Trump said that he will also attend the New York City ceremony along with his running mate J.D. Vance. Former New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg will also attend. A source familiar with the plan said. Biden and Harris will fly to Shakespeare, Pennsylvania, where passengers on United Flight 93 overcame the hijackers and the plane crashed in a field, preventing another plane from being hit. Then they will head back to Washington area to visit the Pentagon Memorial. We can only imagine the heartbreak and the pain that the families of 9/11 survivors, that the 9/11 families and survivors have felt every day for the past 23 years, and we will always remember and honor those who have stolen from us way too soon. White House spokesperson Karine Jean-Pierre told reporters aboard Air Force One on Tuesday. Okay, yeah, so I think this is the first sentence that I actually agree with Karine Jean-Pierre on, because that is not a badly worded sentence there, okay? Of course, we're going to feel the effects, especially if you're a victim of this day. You're going to feel the effects for the next 50, 100, the rest of your life. Very sad. We will continue to do everything in our power to ensure that this attack like this never happens again. No, I don't believe that part, because Joe Biden is incompetent. He's in Willington, Delaware, in the beach. He's just sitting there all day long. So he's been on vacation for at least 40% of his presidency. That's what I should say here. Okay, so Trump also plans to visit Pennsylvania Memorial, told Fox News on Wednesday. It was very, very sad, horrible day, and there's never been anything like it. Biden issued a proclamation honoring those who have died as a result of the attacks, as well as hundreds of thousands of Americans who volunteered for military service afterwards. We owe these patriots of 9/11 generation a debt of gratitude that we can never fully repay, Biden said during deployments in Afghanistan, Iraq, and other war zones, as well as the capture of killing of September 11 mastermind Osama bin Laden and his deputy. United States congressional leaders on Tuesday awarded the Congressional Gold Medal to 13 of those service members killed in August 26, 2021 in a suicide bombing in Kabul's airport during the chaotic United States withdrawal from Afghanistan. Yeah, and they definitely should do that, and this is exactly how we honor our troops, by being there for their families if they have fallen, and being there for the families of not only the people that have fallen, but also the people that are still here. So it's a very, very sad day here, and everybody should remember exactly what happened. Moving on to the next article, we actually have another Reuters article. We have consumer prices rose moderately in August. And this is despite everybody saying that consumer prices are going down, inflation is coming back down, it's settling down, blah, blah, blah. No, it's not. Look. According to Reuters, United States consumer prices rose marginally in August, but underlying inflation showed some sickness, which could discourage the Federal Reserve from delivering a half-point interest rate cut next week. So this could be the saving grace. I don't think that they should lower interest rates at all. The consumer price index increased by 0.2 last month after climbing 0.2 in July. The Labor Department's Bureau of Statistics said on Wednesday, in the last 12 months through August, the CPI advanced 2.5%. That was the smallest year-over-year increase since January 2021, and followed by a 2.9% increase in July. Economists polled by Reuters had forecasted the CPI gaining 0.2% and rising 2.6% year-over-year, though inflation remains above the United States Central Bank's 2% target, which 2% is still very high. It also slowed considerably, allowing policymakers to focus on the labor market in their quest to sustain the economic expansion. Government data showed non-farm payrolls increasing below expectations in August, but the unemployment rate falling to 4.2% from near a 3-year high and 4.3% in July. reducing the odds of a 50-point rate cut and boosting the chances of a quarter-point reduction. The labor is cooling amid a significant moderation in hiring, reducing the risk of inflation reigniting. Okay, so this is the exact thing here. Um, Again, labor is cooling. Yes, there's a significant moderation in hiring. Yes, but everybody still says that they're hiring. So the available jobs cannot simultaneously be taken and said, okay, jobs added to the economy under the Biden and Harris administration, if these jobs are not currently hiring. That's the most annoying part about all of this, having a friend that's looking for a job. I have a full-time job, and then I have this on the side. The thing is, for people that are looking for a job, talk to people that are looking for a job. Look at how many applications they submit to different places. My friend here submits thousands and thousands of applications to thousands and thousands of workplaces, and they don't text back because they're not actually hiring. They're looking for people, but they're not actually hiring. Only select people are actually hiring. And those people are looking for people with experience, but you can't get experience unless you get into the field, but you can't get into the field unless you have experience. That's what's so challenging about being in this generation right now, is because of the fact that you can go to school, you can get yourself into debt, but that's not experience. They want actual experience. And that's because of the fact that the minimum wage now is like $13.50, maybe even $14 per hour. So now when you go and you try to hire somebody for that $14, you want somebody with at least an experience. That's why I say that we should get rid of the minimum wage, and you should allow teenagers to get paid that 7.5, maybe even $8 per hour. You get that experience, and then you can build up your resume. Start at 18 years old. You're still with your parents. You don't have that many bills anyway. Let those teenagers get paid that small amount, and then let the workers hire these teenagers. Yes, they're getting paid low amount, but the thing is, that's only for temporarily. And then as you get older, you expand your horizons, you have more experience under your belt, and then you can get hired. That's the exact thing that we should have, because that's the exact thing that we've always had before this time. So that's what's so angering about all of this here. But with that being said, if nobody wants to take my advice, I don't really blame you. But the thing is, I can't really sit here and listen to your complaints if we do not want to fix the actual problem at hand here. So with that being said, we're going to end off this episode here. I do want to react to the full entire debate, so I may do that for tomorrow. I may upload that for tomorrow, but let's see exactly what happens. With that being said, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening, and I hope they have a great rest of your day. Bye.